Lamed Gimel, Sicha Aleph, and the Sicha talks about Pesach Sheni, because in this week's Parsha we learned that Hashem said to the Eden to bring a Korban Pesach in the Midbar. This was after the Mishkan was put up. Then there were some people who were Tomei. They couldn't bring the Korban Pesach, so they came to complain to Moshe, and they said, Moshe, why should we lose out? So Moshe asked the Eibishter, and Hashem said, let them bring a month later on the 14th day of year, let them bring a Korban Pesach, which will be Pesach Sheni. That'll make up for what they missed out. This is what this is about. The ruchnistic meaning behind it, and how it fits to the halacha. But in Geila din Pesach Sheni, concerning Pesach Sheni, Shatero Kova Tashlumin the Pesach Rishon the Yudalad Biyad, that the Torah established when can you make up missing the Korban Pesach? 14th day of year, which is Chedesh Yomim Lachar Pesach Rishon, which is a full month after the Korban Pesach, after Pesach Rishon, which is Erev Pesach, the 14th of Nisan. Torah Bir, we have to understand. Man nishtano Korban Pesach, shezman hatashlumin shleibor la'achar hefsek shechedesh yomim. Why is the Korban Pesach different? That when the Torah gave us an ability to make it up, why did the Torah say make it up a month later? Why is that different? Mishar Korbanos Yontif. From other Korbanos that a Yid has to bring on Yontif, sheyemei tashlumei and boyim behemshech l'yom yom rishon shel chag. That the days of makeup is just the days behemshech right after the Yontif. L'moshel, Shavuos. There's a din that when you come to the Beis Hamikdash for Shavuos, you have to bring Korbanos. You have to bring Shalmei Simcha, Eilas Riya, and Shalmei Giga. When is really the time to bring it? On Shavuos. But then, if you didn't bring it on Shavuos, you could bring it the day after Shavuos and 2 days after. That's the whole idea why we don't say Tachnun until the 12th day of Sivan. But these are all days that a person could be. But what do we see? That the way to be mashlim, to make up what you missed out, is right afterwards. On the 6th day of Sivan, you have to bring it. If you didn't bring it, you could bring it on the 7th day of Sivan, the 8th day of Sivan, right after that. But Korban Pesach is different. If you didn't bring the Korban Pesach on the 14th day of Nisan, Hashem said, you got to wait a month. Bring it a month later, the 14th day of year. Why? Why is that different? Especially when the Chazal say, that those who were Tomei in the Midbar, that they're the ones that came with the complaint, they're the ones that said, why should we miss out? Why should we lose out to being able to be makriv the korban of Hashem in its proper time? And they were that this parsha was said through them, through these people who missed it out. So the way the Gemara says, the 7th day of their tumah was on Erev Pesach. And you can't bring a korban if you're tummy mess, if you're tummy from that body, you got to wait at least 7 days. Why? Because you have to spritz with the pora aduma, and you do it on the 3rd and the 7th day of when you're tummy, and then that night you're already toher. This was the 7th day of their tumah on Erev Pesach. So the Eibishter could have said, okay, you can't bring it on Erev Pesach, but you can bring it the next day, because the next day they were already toher. So the Rebbe's Shaila is B'chal, why is it established for a month later? And especially that the case where it started was very possible to do it the next day. See, if they would be just beginning their tumah, you have to wait 7 days. I don't know, it would be longer. But it was right away. So why did Eibishter tell him to wait for another month? So the Rebbe says, we could say, according to Chassidus, this kasha is the foundation for the explanation of the Tzemach Tzedek that says, that the concept of Pesach Sheni in Aveda, in Ruchnius, is connected specifically to the 2nd month, to the month of year. Doesn't say how yet, we'll see in a moment. But the Tzemach Tzedek says that what Pesach Sheni represents in Ruchnius, in Aveda of a person, is connected to the 2nd month, to the month of year. Well, so now we understand. We don't know why, but we understand already that the Eibishter made it that you should wait for the next month because it's connected to the concept of the next month. How? So the Rebbe says like this. So first, let me explain what does the Tzemach Tzedek say. This is what he says. In Yonei shel Pesach Sheni ba'Aveda Sodom, who Tzemach Tzedek says that the inyan, the concept, spiritual concept of Pesach Sheni in Aveda is that's when you're able to elevate yourself from the first level of Yetzias Mitzrayim. which is Pesach Rishon Shebechedesh Rishon, which is represented by the Korban Pesach, Erev Pesach, Pesach Rishon, which is a Chedesh Rishon, the first month. You're elevating yourself, a Darga Hashniya, to the second level, Shebechedesh Shiur, which is in the month of Iyar, Chedesh Hasheni, which is second Chedesh. The Hainu HaAveda de Vasei Tev, Habo L'Achri Agdom Asur Merah. That Pesach Sheni represents a second level in Aveda, and that's why it's in the second month, because it's a second level, so it's in the second month. And what are the two levels? The first level is the level of Sur Meirah, and that's represented by Pesach. The Rebbe will explain it all, but it's just making the statements. Pesach Rishon, the first Pesach, represents the Aveda of Sur Meirah, staying away from doing bad. And that's the first level. The second level is Asay Tev, doing good. And that is the second level. That's why it's in Pesach, in the month, the second month. Kloimer, it explains it means like this. Why is Pesach Rishon connected to going away from evil? Because Yetzias Mitzrayim, Pesach Rishon connected to Yetzias, going out of Mitzrayim, Hitchilas Aveda. That's the beginning. That's when the Yidden started their Avedas Hashem. And what's the first Aveda? Sur Merah, going away from evil. Hayetziyah min Mitzrayim, going away from Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim represents Klippe. Yetzias Mitzrayim is going away from Klippe, from Ra. Betanya, like it says in Tanya, Shabi Yetzias Mitzrayim Nemar. Yetzias Mitzrayim, it says Kiborach Ha'om. It says the Yidden ran away, escaped. And the question the Alter Rebbe asks is, when you escape, would they escape from who? Who was chasing after them? So why did they have to escape? So the Alter Rebbe says they didn't escape from Mitzrayim. They escaped mitnei shehara shebenafshes Yisrael adayin lo bitokfei. They escaped, so to speak, from their own evil. The evil was still strong in them. The ikar avedosam hoysa bei from the Sur Merah. The main aveda then was to make sure that you don't get caught up with the evil. Habricha metumas Mitzrayim, which represents the idea for running away from Mitzrayim, from the tumah, the clip of Mitzrayim. After you finish with that aveda, that's the first thing you do. Then you come to the second level. What's the second level? The second level is to do good. So that's what Pesach Sheni is. If you apply that in what a person, what does it mean when a person internalizes this aveda in himself? The Yetzias Mitzrayim, which is Pesach Rishon, aveda, the iskafia. That's iskafia. Kfiyas harash v'nafshe. Staying away from bad means pushing away. Bending the Ra. The Ra comes to you and you could chas v'sholem get caught up in it. You bend it. You stay away from it. Then from there you reach the second level. The second level is changing over, transforming. Transforming the bad to good. Like it says, it says, Shalom Hashem b'chol levavcha, with all your heart. It says with two basin, with both yetzirs, means that you transform the yetzer hara to also love Hashem. The Pesach Sheni Masim and Kolos Achidush Avedas Chedeshir. And this level of what we're saying, Pesach Sheni represents the second level, which is Hapche, Asay Tev, fits to the month of Iyar. Not only because the month of Iyar is number 2, and this Aveda is number 2, it's the second Aveda, but it fits actually to the month of Iyar, what Iyar represents, which is a Chedesh Hasheni, the second month, the Gab Chedesh Nisan, compared to Nisan, which is Chedesh Rishon. So it's the second month, but it's not only because it's number 2. It's because of what Iyar represents. Sfira Seimer, it's the month of Sfira. The Iker Sfira Seimer Kol Chedeshir. The main thing of Sfira is Iyar. Even though the month of Nisan also has some days of Sfira, the month of Sivan also has some days of Sfira, but not the whole month. Iyar, the whole month is Sfira. Because what's the Aveda of Sfira? The Aveda, the Sfira Seimer, Birur HaMidas Avichos and L'Kedusha. We always learn that, counting the Eimer, and every day is a different Midah. It's the idea of changing over, transforming your Midas to good. So the concept of Iyar, which is Sfira, is Hapche. That's why the Pesach Sheni, which represents is Hapche, is in the month of Iyar. Based on this, the Tzemach Tzedek also explains the few dinim that we have in the difference in Pesach Rishon and Pesach Sheni. Pesach Rishon, by the Korban Pesach, it's a time already when you're not allowed to own chometz b'chlal. And Sheni, by Pesach Sheni, chometz u'matzim b'bayis. You could have chometz in your house. You just can't have chometz in the food, in the Korban Pesach, when you eat the Korban Pesach, but you can have chometz. Why? So he says like this. Since a Pesach Rishon represents staying away from evil, running away from the bad, therefore there is an obligation to get rid of the chometz. Chometz represent evil. Gemara uses the lashon seir shabisim, but the Gemara talks about the Yetzer Hara. It says it's the sourdough of the dough. See, this always says that chometz is rising. Chometz represents yeshes, gaive, which is the source of our klippe. So chometz represents klippe. So the first Pesach, it's a time when you're just starting, you're getting away from the ra. You have to have complete chometz away. Shalei yeshum chometz b'shusik, no chometz in your possessions. Shenke Pesach Sheni, but Pesach Sheni Shenyone Afichas Aralatei. That's already when you're able to transform the bad to good. Ain't tzrichen beibizman levayiras chometz b'shusik. You don't have to get rid of the chometz in your shoes. You can still have chometz, Emma, you can have chometz in your house. Why? Because through Pesach Sheni, so we have an extra keach on Pesach Sheni that we're able to change over, transform is hapche. So if it's hapche, you could have chometz. Chometz represents gaive. You could transform gaive into good. But in Pesach Rishon, when you're just going away from the ra, you got to be very careful. You could think that you're going to be able to do it, but you're not so sure. You got to be careful. No chometz. Pesach Sheni, you're already at level of his hapche. So then you could have chometz in your house. He says it's similar. It's not exactly the same, but similar to the din that on Shavuos they used to have a korban in the Beis Hamikdash called Shtei Alechem. Shtei Alechem was special two breads that they had that was chometz. And legabe korban eimer Chag Pesach. Pesach also had a special korban of flour. That's the korban eimer. And Shemalose hidafke b'zeh chometz tiifena. On Shavuos, the greatness, the specialty is that this was chometz. Why is chometz good? Bechal, there was not allowed chometz in the Beis Hamikdash. Why is Shavuos they had chometz? While on Pesach you're not allowed to have chometz. Because Shavuos, when you finish with Sfira Seimer, so now you're completely hapcha. So the chometz, which represents the ra, you could change over to good. You make it the korban to Hashem. So it's not the same, but it's just an example that we find that it comes to a point that you are able to have chometz. So to a certain degree, the same thing already happens on Pesach Sheni. At that time, you could have chometz in your house because that's the time when you have the second level. First level is iskafia, this is hapcha. The first level is sumera, this is aseitiv. This is the whole biur of Tzemach Tzedek, except the last piece. But b'chlal, there's a major kasha on the Tzemach Tzedek's biur. Mamash made a kasha, which I'm sure everybody, when we just started the Sicha, had this in mind. This biur, the Pesach Sheni represents the second level, a higher level of Aveda, the level of Aseitev, is Hapche, Habol, Achar Akdomas Aveda, the Pesach Rishon, Sumera, Iskafia, which comes after the first one. The first one is only Sumera, it's Iskafia. This pshat is completely opposite, against, it contradicts simple pshat and posik, simple aloche. In Aloche and in Posh Pshat and Posik, Shekol in Yonis Pesach Sheni, Ein Elabi Shalei Hevi Pesach Rishon. Who brings Pesach Sheni? Someone who didn't bring Pesach Rishon. Or Misha Hikrif Kabani be Pesach Rishon, someone did bring Pesach Rishon. Halei Zubi Va'ashay Nolav Chiv Lakev Pesach Sheni. Not only doesn't he have to bring Pesach Sheni, Elisha also Leila Hakrev Pesach Sheni. You're not allowed to bring Pesach Sheni if you brought Pesach Rishon. Ulefi Bir at Tzemach Tzedek, it's the opposite. According to Tzemach Tzedek, after you had Pesach Rishon, which is the first level, now you're going to have the second level of Pesach Sheni. So, which is according to Halacha, you can't. If you had Pesach Rishon, you can't have Pesach Sheni. According to Tzemach Tzedek, Adarabah. When you had Pesach Sheni, you now go to Pesach Sheni. Harei says, besides that, it's more. Tzemach Tzedek says, if you have Pesach Rishon, that's the first level. Now that you've got the first level, now you can go to the second level. That means you can't get to the second level without Pesach Rishon. And according to Halacha, it's the opposite. Pesach Sheni is only if you didn't have Pesach Rishon. And if you did have Pesach Rishon, you don't go to Pesach Sheni. Rabbi so Rabbi I'll explain it like this. Very interesting pshat. Let me bring it like this. This that we say, that Pesach Sheni, the inyan of Pesach Sheni, is only if you did not have Pesach Rishon first. That's only if you didn't have the korban Pesach. If you didn't bring the korban Pesach in addition, you could bring b'sheni. And if you brought the korban Pesach Berishon, the first one, you can bring b'sheni. Aval movement understood has nothing to do with the other mitzvahs of Pesach. K'mei Yisur Chometz, you're not allowed to eat chometz on Pesach. Unachilas matzah, you eat matzah. Shegam mi she'ein makriv korban Pesach b'Yudal b'Nisan, that even somebody who did not bring for whatever reason the korban Pesach in Pesach Rishon, like Lamosh, the case of a Tomei, who brings Pesach Sheni? Someone who's Tomei, someone who was far away. So he didn't bring Pesach Rishon, the Yudal Nisan. And it was Al Pitera, it wasn't, he was didn't Aveira. Liyese Tomei b'derech ha'chayka, he was Tomei or far away. So the Torah says, then you can't bring Pesach Rishon. B'chuya b'yisur chometz v'lechem matzah v'chulu, you're still not allowed to eat chometz, you still have to eat matzah. That means the inyan of Pesach you still had, without the korban. Yesh lehesiv, you could add, the Rebbe says, shebenit nakosov, when we talk about the case of the Posek, which people were Tomei that couldn't bring the Pesach Rishon? From these two people, they were busy with carrying out the bodies of Nodav Avihu who died inside the Mishkan. They carried them out. Who were these people? Tzadikim. What made them Tomei and B'meila they couldn't bring the Pesach? Moshe told them to. He said to them, go take your brothers and take them out. So they did. They became Tomei, which didn't allow them to bring the Pesach, the Korban Pesach, was because Moshe told them. And by the way, the Rebbe says, you could explain, the Rebbe says, this is the meaning of what their complaint was. Their complaint was, why should we miss out? What kind of complaint is there? It's not understood. What did the Taina? Why should we miss out, lose out on being makriv the Korban of Hashem in this time? They themselves gave the answer before they even gave the complaint. For Omram, they started off by saying, when they came to Moshe to complain, they started like this: we are Tomei, so why should we lose out? Well, that's not a kasha, that's an answer. Since they're Tomei, so they can't bring. The Tomei can't bring. The Eibishter said that Tomei can't bring. So what's their complaint? So the Rebbe says, the Taina was not. If they chose to become Tomei, so they're Tomei, too bad, right? So what kind of complaint is it? They claim that we became Tomei because Moshe Rabbeinu asked us to. And how could it be? Through Moshe's commandment, which means doing what Moshe wants, what Eibishter wants. Nigora, this should make us lose. They certain from such an important thing bringing a korban. So upon them, this is just by the way that with these people. Now, if they're this people, so for sure, that for sure these people, all the other things of the korban of Pesach, levada krovas hakorban Pesach, besides the korban Pesach, was completely bishlemus. So that means that even if you don't bring the korban Pesach, you have to eat matzah. You can't eat chometz. All these things. Now we understand what the Tzemach Tzedek says. Pesach Sheni is the second level in Aveda. The Pesach Rishon. It comes after the first level. And the kasha was, but in halacha doesn't. If you brought the Pesach Rishon, you had the first level. You don't bring Pesach Sheni. So he says no. I know what it means is shekadei loved le Pesach Sheni. In order to get to the second level, you have to have Pesach Rishon first. After Pesach Sheni, Pesach Rishon. Even though the halacha is that Pesach Sheni comes only if you didn't bring the Pesach Rishon. But what the Rebbe is saying, the pshat is, it doesn't mean after the korban Pesach and Pesach Rishon. That Aveda Ruchni that Pesach represents, which is Sur Merah, staying with the Kfiyah Sarah, the iskafia of the bed. Kosher Bekim Sharin Yonei Mitzvah Chag. That you have by doing the other things of the Chag, of the Yontev. Isur Chometz, Chiv Achilas Matzah, eating Matzah, which by the way is Lechameni. Matzah is called Lechameni. He wants to show how, he said by the Korban Pesach, why is it Sur Merah? Because it was connected to going out of Mitzrayim, which was running away from the Ra. But he says, eating Matzah also represents that. Matzah is called Lechem Eini, which means poor man's bread. And what is poor man's bread? So he brings from Torah that poor man's bread means Aveda Viskafia. It's connected to it. The Gemara says, Ein Oni Elabadaz, the real poor poverty is in mind. That means Alo Madrege. So eating matzah is also connected to the fact that this is Kafia. Since even somebody didn't bring the Pesach Rishon in its time, he nevertheless did Aved in the other Inyonim. So it comes out, so even by somebody who didn't bring the Pesach Rishon, he still has the first level through the other Inyonim, And it comes to Pesach Sheni, it comes to the second level, Habo Lachri Aveda the Chag Pesach Harishon, that comes after the Pesach. Ukibir Asamach Tzedek, like Tzemach Tzedek says, Shebe Pesach Sheni Magiv Elul Madrega Ashniya Baveda, on Pesach Sheni you reach a second level, which is Asay Tev, and it's Hapch. Fine. Sounds good. No, doesn't answer everything. I mean, that dying lane is biting and called Tzorche. The Sinyan is not completely answered. Why? The other side. Hey, Nemes, it's true. Shagam, Ishalahikir Korban Pesach Rishon. Lay Nigret Samabidose. It's true that the one that didn't bring Pesach Rishon is not missing anything. Kama Ruchni is, even Beruchni is Badar Gyor Rishayne, the Chaga Pesach Rishon, from the first level Pesach Rishon. Why? Because he had all the other yonim of Pesach except the korban, and therefore the Pesach Sheni, even if it didn't have Pesach Rishon, he still has the first level. And when it comes to Pesach Sheni, and he brings the second korban, he reaches the second level. Fine. The kasha is on the other side. Number one, Loma Mishihikir Pesach Rishon also Lahakir Pesach Sheni. But if someone did bring Pesach Rishon, why can't he bring Pesach Sheni? According to Tzemach Tzedek, in order to reach a second level, you have to have the Pesach Sheni. So the person who brought Pesach Rishon, so he had not only the matzah and he had the first level, he had the first level behidur, together with the korban. But why shouldn't he bring the Pesach Sheni? According to Tzemach Tzedek, you have to bring Pesach Sheni to reach a second level. And the second thing is, if he's not going to bring, the one that brought Pesach Rishon is not going to bring Pesach Sheni because you can. How does he go to the second level? Because all he had was Pesach Rishon. He brought it. How does he reach the second level? If he can't bring the Pesach Sheni, how does he reach? So it's like two sides here. If he brought the Pesach Rishon, why can't he bring it? That's one question. He should be able to bring it and reach the second level, even if he had the Pesach Rishon. And the second thing, if he can't, so how's he going to get there? The Shleimer Rabbi is that Rabbi says Pshat. Pshat is like this. Lacher HaKorban Pesach Rishon, Shuvein Tzerich Lahovi Korban Pesach Sheni K'nei Agiya Madrei Ashniya. If you brought Pesach Rishon, you could reach the second level without the Korban. Kizek Vanase B'Shleimus Adi HaKorban Pesach Rishon. Because that you accomplish by Pesach Rishon. If you bring the Pesach Rishon, you have two things. B'Shasmaisa, you have the Aveda of the first level, Aveda of Sur Merah, Skafia. That gives you the power that when Pesach Sheni will come, you will be able to reach a second level because of the Korban. Kloimer, it means like this. This that in the second month, in the month of Iyar, you're able to reach the second level, which is Asay Tev and Ishapche. The guy that brought Pesach Rishon got it through the Pesach Rishon. And before we even learn further, so therefore comes out, a guy who brought Pesach Rishon has the first level through the Pesach Rishon, but he also has the Korban to give him the boost that Pesach Sheni he could reach the second level. The guy who didn't bring Pesach Rishon also has the first level, not that great, also the first level, but now to get the inyan of Pesach Sheni, he has to bring the Korban. And he can explain, Hasbara Sinyan, the explanation goes like this. Korban Neloshin Kiruv. The word Korban is Kiruv, means closeness. Shayidei Korbanis Miskarav Adam Lashem. Through the Korbanis, you get close to Hashem. Okay, Mavur Bekam Mekemis, it says in many places, in Yonis Shal Korban Baveda Sa'odam. What's the inyan of a Korban Ben Aveda? Sha'odam Tzarech Lahakal Hashem Es Abhema Shabei. What's such a Korban? Just like physically you were Makriv Abhema, you have to be Makriv your Behema, your Nefesh Abamis. Acha Yeh Royally Es Nikriv Amizbeach Hashem, you should be, take your Nefesh Abamis, your Behema, make it so that it fits to be a Korban to be put on the Mizbeach. It should be burned, consumed with the fire from above. Should become holy. That's the holy union of a korban. A korban is to bring your nefesh closer to the Eibishter. So therefore, I'm going to say the words before we learn this side. Therefore, as long as you had a korban, whether you had the first korban or the second, you got that koyach. So if you had the first korban, you got the koyach then, and that gives you the koyach for the second level. If you didn't have the first korban, you can't go to you had the first level, but you wouldn't be able to go to the second level unless you bring the korban, then you have to have a korban. If you bring the Pesach Rishon, that gives you the koyach. Upeyeles, and it causes that what's going to continue after the korban. So if you brought the korban, it gives you a koyach that what's going to continue, which is Sfira Soimer, which is Mana Maschil, take it Mochras HaPesach, that starts right after the Pesach. Yeah, Beifin said that your Aveda after the Korban Pesach should be such that you should be able to reach when it comes to ear to Aseitei for Yishap. The Ein Stira Ben Bira Tzemach Tzedek. There's no contradiction what the Tzemach Tzedek says. Pesach Sheni Yoni Adarga Ashni B'Avedas Hashem. The Pesach Sheni shows the second level, and in Yoni Shal Pesach Sheni Shebola Sakanu Lahashlam Esachasor the Pesach Rishon. It's no stira between that he says it's the second level, and what we always know that it comes to fix up what you missed out in Pesach Rishon. But as we asked before, L'chura, it's a contradiction. It makes what you missed missed out. So in the case where a person brought the Pesach Rishon, he can't bring. Why can't he bring Pesach Sheni, as he said before? So he says the reason is Avidose shel Pesach Sheni Darga Ashniya, which is his hapche, the level of Pesach Sheni, which is the second level, is hapche. Tluya ba'korban Korban Pesach. Depends on the korban. You have to have a Korban Pesach, Korban Kiruv, to make you reach the second level. Therefore, if you're the one that brought Pesach Rishon, well, definitely, since he brought Pesach Rishon, he has the power now to reach the second level. He doesn't have to bring a second korban. There's no need for a korban, because the korban that he brought gave him not only for then, gave him the boost that he's going to be able to, when he gets to pay to the second month, he'll be able to reach a second level. Someone who did not bring Korban Pesach Rishon, even though he reached that first level through the other things, he cannot reach the level of his hapche, the second level, by fixing up what he missed in Pesach Rishon. Now they should have a Korban Pesach Sheni. He has to bring a Korban Pesach Sheni. Which means he shouldn't miss out to be makriv. He should be like the Pesach Rishon. He should have that koyach. So now we understand everything. So how the Tzemach Tzedek's beer fits exactly the halacha. The one that brought Pesach Rishon has the koyach of Pesach Rishon, first level, and the koyach to reach a second level when the time comes. The one that didn't bring also reached the first level to a certain degree, but still doesn't have the koyach to reach the second level, and that you need the Korban Pesach Sheni. This explains the Rebbe says also the reason Shegam Bisman has said that nowadays Nikva Pesach Sheni L'Yem Yuchad L'Chol Yisrael. Why Pesach Sheni is a special day for all Yidden. We celebrate Pesach Sheni. Mishkos Rabbeinu Zok Mesidure. The Alter Rebbe writes in Siddur Shabbat Pesach Sheni Ein Neimer Tachna. We say don't say Tachna. It's a Yontif. Ba'achi Yashminig Lechol B'Matzah Zeichel Pesach Sheni. It's a minig that we eat matzah. We remember Pesach Sheni. So it's a special day for us. Why is it a special day? Pesach Sheni is only for somebody who should have brought Pesach Rishon and didn't. I would skip the brackets for a second and go after, and then we'll go back. So since it's only for somebody who should have brought Pesach Rishon and didn't, but because of that, nowadays befrat b'chutz loretz shein on the Korban Pesach. We don't have a Korban Pesach. Shuvlei shayach lechura calling it the Pesach Sheni. No Pesach Sheni. Pesach Sheni. You should have brought Pesach Rishon. You didn't. We shouldn't have brought Pesach Rishon. What's the union of celebrating Pesach Sheni? Whichever way, whether not saying Tachnan or Matzah, whatever. What's the purpose if the whole concept doesn't apply? Now in the brackets, the Rebbe is going to go when he said that the whole union of Pesach Sheni is to make up for Pesach Rishon. Actually, in Gemara, it's a machlokes. Is it Tashlum in the Rishon is Pesach Sheni to make up only to make up for Rishon that you didn't make? Or it's a regel b'fnei atzmi, it's a yontif for itself. Meaning, like the nafkamina, what's the chilek, how you call it? The bottom line is, you only bring Pesach Sheni if you didn't bring Pesach Rishon. What's the chilek, how you call it? So it was nafkamina. What happens if somebody, like a goy, was megayer between Pesach Rishon and Pesach Sheni? If you say, it's tashlum to make up what you missed out, he didn't miss out, he didn't do anything wrong, he was a goy. And therefore, he doesn't have to bring Pesach Sheni. If it's because it's a yontif for itself, even though it's a yontif for itself for those who didn't bring Pesach Rishon, but not for, but it's a yontif for itself. And this guy didn't bring Pesach Rishon. Same thing, a guy who became bar mitzvah. So the Rebbe wants to say that what he said right before the end of the page, that the whole unit of Korban Pesach is just to make up Pesach Sheni or Pesach Rishon. Once it fits to both opinions. The gam laman domer v'chein alocha the Pesach Sheni regel b'fnei atzmei, even according to the opinion and alocha. That Pesach Sheni is a yontif for itself, so l'churi you might think it's not connected to missing Pesach Rishon. Shaloch, and because of that, gam mishali cholol v'chiyel b'Pesach Rishon. That if when it was Pesach Rishon, he had no obligation. The nasa bar chiyuv ben Pesach Rishon l'shein, and he only became chuyev between the two. Kotnish is gadol. Kim bar mitzvah. A gershon is gayer. Ben rishon l'sheni within the first is also chayiv lo Pesach Sheni. Has to bring Pesach Sheni, even though he didn't have to bring Pesach Rishon. So l'chura, see, it's not so connected to Pesach Rishon. So Rebbe said it's not so. It's not true. We have to say no matter what. We've seen the pasuk that it came because they missed it out. So we know for sure. For sure, Pesach Sheni is because you missed Pesach Rishon. And that's clear. Whoever made a Rishon can be chayiv in the Sheni, the second one. But what is the pshat? If you learn the halacha that it's a regal yonta for itself, the Torah was machadish. It said like this: it's taki only for somebody who didn't bring Pesach Rishon. But there's another nakuda here, that an extra thing that it's a yonta for itself. The cotton or the goy is not obligated because of nitna le'avshoros lakav Pesach b'yudal b'ir. It still has a possibility of bringing yudal b'ir. Al derech a beger. So the bottom line is it's definitely connected to the Pesach Rishon, which means like this: the difference between the two opinions is, according to the opinion, it's only a makeup for Rishon is because you did something wrong. It's not your fault, but there was something wrong that happened. That you didn't bring Pesach Rishon, you have to bring Pesach Sheni. Therefore, a goy who was a goy that didn't do anything wrong doesn't bring Pesach Sheni. According to the other way, it's not because you did anything wrong, because you missed it out. You didn't have that mila. So anybody who didn't have the mila of Pesach Rishon could bring Pesach Sheni, has to bring Pesach Sheni. So whichever way you're going to look at it, it comes all because there was a Pesach Rishon, you didn't have that mila, so now you can bring Pesach Sheni. But the Rebbe is asking, but Bisman Hazeh, there is no Pesach Rishon. So there's no even mila to say that you missed the mila. Or the other opinion says you did something wrong, not bring Pesach Rishon. Not you did wrong, but it was something wrong. According to the opinion, nothing wrong, but Lepel, you missed it out. Nowadays, we didn't miss it out. We missed it out, but you can't make it up anyway. In other words, the whole idea of Pesach Rishon doesn't exist. The Rebbe goes further. There's a din, that only an individual who didn't bring Pesach Rishon is pushed away and could bring Pesach Sheni. But if the whole tzibur didn't bring Pesach Rishon, you don't bring Pesach Sheni. Let's just take an example. If some people were Tomei and most of them were Toyer, so most people bring Pesach Rishon, the Tomei ones bring Pesach Sheni. If the whole community or most of the Eden were Tomei, they bring Pesach Rishon. Because the din is Tumeh Hutre B'tzibur. If the whole community is Tomei, you could bring it in Tumeh. But what happens if the whole community couldn't bring it, but not because of that? Let's say there were a third of the population was Tomei Mes, because this whole din that if everybody is Tomei, you bring Pesach Rishon, even though you're Tomei, is only Tomei Mes. If you're Tomei from a dead body. So what happens if a third of the population is Tomei from a dead body, and then there's another third of the population which is Tomei from other Tumas? They can't bring Pesach Rishon. So the din is they can't bring Pesach Sheni either. Because the whole community didn't bring Pesach Rishon, you don't push them away to Pesach Sheni. So what's the pshat? Klaimer, what it means is, the whole concept of Pesach Sheni is something that has to do with individuals, but not to the Jewish people as a whole. You see here that if the Jewish people as a whole didn't bring, they don't bring the Pesach Sheni. So the kasha is Ketzad Masim Likveya Pesach Sheni Kayem. The minhagim yichadim. How could you establish Pesach Sheni as a day that has special minhagim? Sheni metachn. You don't say tachn. Avur kol bnei Yisrael yachad for all the Eden, like it's a Yiddish thing. It's not for all the Eden. It's only for individuals. So why does Klal Yisrael have to celebrate Pesach Sheni? Now, the Deicha Godel Yetaretz, the Rebbe says it's a big Deicha to answer this kasha, which is, I'm going to say it by heart first. From Yerushalmi, it comes out that Yerushalmi argues and says there is a possibility for bringing, the whole Tzibur should bring Pesach Sheni. When? It didn't bring Pesach Sheni. Let's learn this, I will see. Okay, we'll learn it first. Maybe this goes according to the Das of Rabbi Yehuda in Yerushalmi. Rabbi Yehuda in Yerushalmi says like this. What happens if Mashiach will come between Pesach Rishon and Pesach Sheni, and we're able to build the Beis Hamikdash? So the whole Tzibur didn't bring Pesach Rishon. So according to the Gemara, we won't bring Pesach Sheni. The Yerushalmi, the Yehuda in Yerushalmi holds Eisin at Tzibur Pesach Sheni. In this case, they will bring. So it seems like the Yerushalmi argues. So maybe this whole thing, our meaning of celebrating for the Tzibur Pesach Sheni goes according to that opinion. Especially when it says in other places, the Rebbe explains in a different place that could be that there's no machlekes. That the Tzibur, even our Gemara holds. And this is what the Rebbe says. It's in the famous Sicha where the Rebbe spoke that people should leave Yerushalayim on Erev Pesach. I hope, according to this, I don't want to spend the time on explaining it. But the point that the Rebbe makes is that could be the Gemara when it says that the Tzibur is not pushed and doesn't do Pesach Sheni. If they didn't do Pesach Rishon, it's only if the reason they didn't bring Pesach Rishon is because they were Tomei. But what happens if they didn't bring Pesach Rishon for a different reason? Because the Goyim didn't let them. Or like now, because we don't have to be Samigdash. Maybe even the Bavli will agree that you bring Pesach Sheni. So the Im came, so according to this, so there is no Korban Pesach the first, but there is a second. So what the Rebbe said before seems to be not so 100%. The Rebbe said the Pesach Sheni is only for Yochid, not for the Tzibur. Not so poshut. According to Yerushalmi, it's not so poshut. Even Bavli might learn like that. So maybe that's the answer. But the Rebbe said it's deichek to say that Armin Hogim in Pesach Sheni is based on the opinion of the Yerushalmi. Why? It's not. We don't keep Pesach Sheni now because of maybe we will have a chance to bring the Korban Pesach now. Kim Zeicher le Pesach Sheni shoy bisman Hamikdash. It's a Zeicher what they used to do in the Beis Hamikdash. And then the Tzibur never brought Pesach Sheni. Why would we make for the whole Tzibur now a Zeicher to Pesach Sheni, which is only on the Yochid? Elamai. We have to say, Pesach Sheni yes, yes, Pesach Sheni is not something only for the Yochid. As much as only the Chidim who were Tomei couldn't bring it, that's the ones that brought the Pesach Sheni. But the inyan of Pesach Sheni is for Klal Yisrael. And how is that? As we explained before, and what's the inyan of Pesach Sheni in Aveda? So from that, moving the inyan b'pashtas, we understand it. As we said before, Pesach Sheni is for every Yid. Even somebody brought Pesach Rishon, Pesach Sheni is the second level. For everybody, whether you brought Pesach Rishon or not. Every Yid on that day could reach that level of Avodas Hashem, the second level, the Aveda B'Sapcha. Claimer, what it means is like this. Gam elu sheikriva Pesach Rishon, even those that brought Pesach Rishon. Shleimus pulas akrobezu, shavedi this hapche. And Pesach Rishon is only skafia. But the shleimus that this will bring to the evening of hapche comes from the Pesach Rishon. But when will it be? Bo b'chedesh hasheni. It comes the second month. But before the Pesach Sheni, especially Pesach Sheni, shebei maschil asfira shaychas midas aheid. Then already we start counting the midah of heid, and heid is considered sometimes considered as the end. The end is malchus, but malchus is always separate. You have zo malchus. In zo, you have the last midah of zo is Yesod. But Yesod is considered labar miguf. It's the outside of the goof. So what's the really last one? Heid. So when we start counting heid, chesed shebeheid is Pesach Sheni. So that's when you reach already the end, to a certain degree, the end of Sfira. Therefore, Gambis manazeh, even nowadays, sheyeshna aveda ruchnis shebekorban Pesach, when there is the ruchnis dik aveda of Korban Pesach, chegin es azman amiter abur aliyah madrega shniya. So we celebrate the second level too, which is this hapche and aseitek. It's hapche and aseitek. I just want to go back for a second to mention what I said before. This was Tovshin Chov Ches. The 6-day war was Tovshin Chov Zayin. That's when we got Yerushalayim, Mokim Hamikdash. So Achon Shepesach, Tovshin Chov Ches, which is the first Pesach after we had the Kaisel, we had the Mokim Hamikdash. The Rebbe spoke, and he said that since there is an opinion, Bichil Paris holds one opinion, that nowadays we have to bring a Korban Pesach. We're all Tamei, Tumurut Betzibur. We have no Beis Hamikdash. The din is you could bring Korbanos. There's no bias as long as we have a Mizbeach and we have at the place. He actually wanted to bring the Korban Pesach. He went to Eretz Yisrael to bring the Korban Pesach. The Arabs didn't let him. All the Rishonim were against him, but he held he should bring the Korban Pesach. Now, not bringing the Korban Pesach, if you don't bring it the Mezid, you're Chayv Kores. So the Rebbe said that since, according to the B'chil Priest, it's Chiyuv, and by Inyam Kores, we're machnet to all kinds of Chumres. the pale to bring the Korban Pesach, we can't because we don't pass like it. But to be Yetzer, his day, everybody should leave Yerushalayim and Erev Pesach. Not to be there, should be a Derech HaCheika. But then what about Shpeter comes Pesach Sheni? This was already after Erev Pesach. So the Rebbe said everyone should leave Pesach Sheni also.
Every year, that's what we do,
Every,
Rabbi?
I'll finish off. Every year the Rebbe said you should leave Pesach and you should leave Pesach Sheni for this reason. To be Yetzer for the Shita for Bechil Mi Paris. And that's when the Rebbe said, even though the Tzibur doesn't get pushed to Pesach Sheni, that's when the Rebbe brought the Yerushalmi. And the Rebbe said that Bavli could also hold like that. That when don't they bring it if it was because of Tumah, but now it didn't do because of Tumah. If to be the problem of Tumah, that's the only problem, we would have brought Pesach Rishon because the Tzibur is Tumah. The reason why don't we bring Pesach, didn't we bring because we couldn't. But now that, so B'meila, according to Pim Charis, that you have to, if you can, we could. We have the Makam HaMikdash, so we could. So the only way to be Yetzer, he says, to leave. That's how it went on for a few years. Came to the year of Tov Shin Lamed Hey. That's when the Rebbe was in Magiya, look at the Sichas that year. So the Vadavat Sichas sent out old Sichas that the Rebbe said that wasn't before some yet, every Parsha. And they would give it into the Rebbe. So for Parsha Baaloscho, they wrote to the Rebbe that they're going to send out this Sicha. In the Geya, the Rebbe is saying that you have to leave out of Pesach from Yerushalayim and same thing Pesach Sheni. They gave it into the Rebbe, so the Rebbe allowed to print that and added a letter in addition. And the Rebbe writes in the letter that from now on, this is not true anymore. You don't have to leave. Why? Because why didn't we have to leave before the 6 Day War? Because there's nothing to leave because we can't bring the korban. It's not in our hands. 6 Day War went to our hands. Now we're able to. So according to Real Paris, we should. But the Rebbe said the way the Israeli government is behaving, they gave up the rights of the Kaisel, of the Mokim HaMikdash to the Arabs. So now we're back to square one that we don't have a chance to do it. We can't. We wouldn't be able to do it. Imagine if someone would bring the Korban Pesach, they'd kill him, the Arab. It's not Shaykh. So it's the same like before. If it's not Shaykh, then there's no reason to go away. So now it's like before. Because actually, the Rebbe said the Sicha and was Magiya, and he sent it to Rav Zevin to ask his opinion. So he answered the Rebbe with so many kashas on what the Rebbe said. One of the kashas was this: what all of a sudden now? Why didn't they have to go for 1,000 years if no one had left? So the Rebbe answered, just that is because we didn't have the Mikdash. We didn't have the Mokim HaMikdash. So we couldn't, even according to Bil B'charis, we couldn't bring, but not Shaykh, but not in the Shaykh. Then he had more questions. The Rebbe answered all the Shaylas. But the Rebbe said, now that this is the way it is, so from then on it stopped. Till then, not everybody, but some of the Lubavitchers. One of the kashas he asked the Rebbe is, what are you saying? You have to leave. So you have 500,000 Yidden leave Yerushalayim on Erev Pesach. Where are they going to go? People don't. If you have relatives, someplace, if you don't, what's going to? That's not a kasha. So the Rebbe said it's only for, to be mahader. The Hider, the Rebbe said. But from then on, the Rebbe said it's not. But Al Kapon of Lepel Mamash, we don't own the Pesach Sheni, we don't own the Pesach Rishon, we don't own the Pesach Sheni, but the Ruchnis the Kaveda is there, as the Rebbe explains in the Sicha, and it's so beautiful that the Rebbe takes it's a machzedek with the Ruchnis the Inyan and fits it into the halacha that it's not a steer at all to the halacha of Korban Pesach and Pesach Sheni.
Rabbi, why did the Rebbe wait till Tafshin Lamed Hey to say this? Like, why not Chavtes or Tafshin Lamed?
Maybe it wasn't so 100%. There was still not. Maybe by then already it was clear. Till then, there's still a chance. Maybe they're not going to give it. But by then, the Rebbe saw already it's done. It's a done deal. They gave it up. Not saying that you don't have it, but they gave up their rights over for them, and that's it. So by then,
Rabbi Schapiro.
They wanted to give out the Sicha, so the Rebbe wrote it. But at Lapel Mamash, I'm sure he would have written it before had it been. Yes.
Rabbi Schapiro, I don't understand. How does that answer the question in the beginning of the Sicha that Pesach Sheni was postponed for a whole month?
He says because it has to do with the month of year. It has to do with the second month.
The Aveda, okay, but it's happening.
Is the second month. That's what has to be in here. Elma, you could ask why Dafke.
Yudalit. Yeah.
That at the end of the Sicha, he said that word, Yudalit ear, because it's the union of Sfiras. We start counting Sfiras Haid.
Oh, okay.
And that's already, because his Hafche comes at the end of the Iskafi. The end of the Iskafi is, Be'emes is really by Shavuos at the end, but there's a level before, which is a level when we say, it says like Beimer. Think of the order that Rebbe says here also. Like Beimer. Oh, in order 46, he says, The Iker Abirur is ended, already finished by Lag Baimer. He says order 46. Why? Because of Heid. And like I said, Heid is already to a certain degree the end. Heid Sheba Heid, the Heid is the end of the end. And the Rebbe says, but since we start Heid already on Pesach Sheni and Yudalad, it's already a certain level of end. And he says actually further in the Ha'ara that since by Chesed we know is a Sphira that's the first of all the Spheres. So Chesed Shebaheid, and Chesed is Ozil and Kula Yemen that's connected to all the Spheres. So Chesed Shebaheid is the day. That's why it's pushed off. Mitzad Aveda Rafi said, Al Pi Aveda Ruchni, as we could explain this answer discussion. Okay.
Shikoyach.
Shkoyach, thank you.
Shikoyach.